Hi guys! Today we are going to be doing my December wrap-up. In December I managed to read 22 books. Still not sure how I did that, considering that in December I also had a baby. But, oh well, it happened. A lot of them were pretty short, so yeah, we will get to that. And they were most of my books in December were also rereads. So that helps too. But anyways, let's just get started. So the first two books that I read in December are Sword in the Stars and The Errant King by Wayne Thomas Batson. These are the first two books in the Dark Sea Annals. I think actually the name of the series has changed. Don't know why exactly, but that I think it has. I don't know if the names of these books have changed. But anyways, I'm not sure. I kept thinking when I was reading this one that I just must have DNF'd it at some point because I didn't remember a bunch of the end stuff. And then I start this book and I definitely remember things from this book. And I know I would not have read book 2 without finishing book 1. So I just must not have read these books and remembered anything that happened in them or something. I don't know what happened, but anyways, they were really pretty good. I do like every other series that I've read by him better. So there's that, but I did still really enjoy these. They're the character arc of the main character in book 1 was really good, especially. Just really enjoyed these books. And book 1 seems like a lot of setup for books 2 through whatever the rest of the series is, which I don't have. I've not read the rest of the series. I know I haven't because I don't own those, but I did still enjoy these. Probably not 5 stars though, probably just 4 stars, unlike the rest of his books that I've read are 5 stars, but these are just 4. Alright, then the next series that I read, this is how I was able to read 22 books in this month. Is that I reread the entire Kingdom series. There's actually 6. I have 2 of them on ebook, so I'm just holding up the 4 that I have physically, and the Knights of Arthray series. So these are 2 series set in the same world. They're middle grade, I guess. Very short. I don't think any of them. I know none of them are over 200 pages. Most of them are under 150. I actually may have read the Kingdom series in like one day. Like the entire 6 books. Oops. Didn't mean to do that either, but that happened. But yeah, I really enjoyed these books. They're basically, the Kingdom series itself, the first 6 books, is retelling the story of the Bible, like the entire book, of the entire Bible, in a medieval setting. And very much shortening the timeline, like very, very much shortening it. And then the second series, The Knights of Arthray, demonstrates vices and virtues in this world through different followers of the Prince Jesus. I actually think I like the Knights of Arthray better than I like the Kingdom series. Rereading it, I don't think if I was reading the Kingdom series for the first time that I would have given them 5 stars, just because some of the things were not very well fleshed out. I mean, obviously you're retelling the entire Bible in 6 very, very short books. Obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff glossed over, but there was a lot of things, especially in like the first couple books, that were not fleshed out well enough for my taste. But the Knights of Arthray were so much better. I really did enjoy those. So, yes. Next book that I read was The Nutcracker by Alexander Dumas. I'm not sure if this is apparently not the original, but it's close. Like it's a translation of the original. It's a translation of the original. Because that's not at all confusing. This was a little weird, not gonna lie. And my exposure to the Nutcracker story, as a kid, I had like a Christmas story picture book that definitely had Nutcracker in it. Don't remember that very clearly. I remember vaguely the story of the Barbie Nutcracker movie, and I've seen the newish, like a couple years ago, Disney movie, The Nutcracker in the Four Realms, that one. I actually thought that was pretty good. But yeah, so this was weird to me. So it kind of reminded me in style of Peter Pan, actually, like whimsical, fun kind of classics, which I love those. Love whimsical, fun classics. Will say I don't like the ending because of the timing of it. So I guess spoilers for the ending of the Nutcracker, as in like the last page. Yeah. So the main character is Mary, and she is described as being 7.5 at the beginning of the book. And at the end, without any clear like time jumps happening during the story, other than like a couple of days, at the end, she is engaged and is supposed to get married the next year. She's gonna be 8.5 next year. So I was not a big fan of that. I don't know if we were supposed to forget how old she was, or like if there was a time skip that I didn't notice, but I really did not notice anything. Like I don't get it. But other than that, it was an enjoyable read. It was just, that was a little bit much. So yeah, I did give it 4 stars because I did enjoy the story, but that was weird. Next thing I read was Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Stories. Christmas Carol, I love that. I love Christmas Carol so much. 5 stars, 100%. Just love it very much. The other stories in here were A Christmas Tree, Christmas Dinner, and the Christmas chapters from Pickwick Papers. I really enjoyed Christmas Tree and Christmas Dinner also. I thought I might, since I like Christmas Carol so much, I wanted to try out Dickens' short fiction, like his short stories, because I do not like his long fiction. I had to read Hard Times in school, and it was just terrible. Did not enjoy that. So, and I didn't like the Pickwick Papers part very much, if at all. So, yeah, that kind of confirmed to me that I don't think I'm much of a fan of Dickens' long works. But Christmas Carol, love it. It's so good. And then Christmas Tree was, it got weird, but it was fine. Same with Christmas Dinner. It got weird, but it was good. Pickwick Papers was just weird. Not a big fan. But did enjoy this quite a bit. Christmas Carol was a reread. The others were new to me. But I did enjoy those. Yes. Alright, and then I read some books that I got for Christmas and some books that I purchased soon after Christmas. So, first one that I read that I got for Christmas was Jacobus, the Son of Onesimus. I have read this author. I think like what happened was her father wrote a book about Onesimus and she like helped him finish it or something. And then this is the sequel to that she just wrote herself. Did not love it, didn't hate it, didn't love it. It was just kind of fine. There were some theological things I disagree with the author on that happened in the story, so I didn't like that either. Like, it kind of made me a little uncomfortable. So, was not a big fan of that. And, yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was not my favorite. I think I gave that like 2.5 stars. Rounded it up to 3. Did I? Actually, don't know if I rounded it up or not. I think I did round it up. Alright, then I read The Famous Unknown Service Girl by Brad Toll. This was not good. Unfortunately, I asked my husband bought this for me for Christmas, but unfortunately it just wasn't good. The entire book is written, basically the entire book is just like written in a very modern, like with a very modern style, which is not, I don't love that in historical or biblical. Modern would be fine in like the narration, but there were just certain turns of phrase like that the characters would use when the character, like in their dialogue, it just sounded wrong. It just, I don't love it when characters, when you pull speech out of modern day and just plop it into the mouth of a biblical or historical character, and it just sounded wrong. This is, though, let me tell you what it's about. It is about the Jewish servant girl of Naaman in the Bible. She appears like one time, but in like Kings. So we only know that she's the one who tells his wife about the prophet Elisha. Yeah, Elisha. And how he could probably cure Naaman's leprosy. That's really all we know about her. So, yeah, it just wasn't good. Did not really enjoy it because of that. It was very short, though, so I read it really quick. Then I read Slave to Grace, which was by Joyce Fox, which is also a book about Onesimus. This one is actually about Onesimus. The other one was about Onesimus' son, but this was much better. After reading that one, this one was very much a breath of fresh air. Still not my favorite biblical fiction or anything. Just like 3.5 stars, maybe. But it was pretty good. Again, just about the story of Onesimus. How he, sold into slavery and then owned by Philemon. and then he runs away, and then he meets Paul, all that stuff. I've read better Onesimus stories, but this one was, I mean, it was okay. I'm keeping this one. I'm not going to get rid of this one, so that's good. Then I read Joanna, A Story of Love and Betrayal by Jean Everett Weatherly. This one was actually pretty good. I think I gave it 4 stars, 3.5 to 4 stars. So this is about Joanna, who we don't know anything about other than the fact that she helped with Jesus' ministry, and her husband was like Herod's household manager or something. So this book is basically talks about her journey with the disciples, how she travels around with them. Did not like some aspects of it. Just go ahead and get out what I didn't like out of the way. Did not like how basically the entire plot of this book, and this happens within the first 2 chapters. No, within the first chapter. Yeah, it happens within the first chapter. Or we know about it happening within the first chapter, and then it happens in the second chapter. So I don't think it's too much spoilers to say. The entire plot of this revolves around Joanna leaving her husband to go travel with Jesus, and her husband not knowing or approving. And so I did not like that. I was not a big fan of that. And also their son. She leaves her son, which, like, you leave your... Like, he was, like, 3 or 4. that was not... I understand in the story why she thought she had to do that, but not a big fan of that. And then... Also, there were just some biblical inaccuracies. Like, for example, the disciples were portrayed at the crucifixion, which they definitely were not, other than John. John was the only one there that we see. I mean, it specifically does not say that it specifically says that the women were there and John, but it doesn't say the other disciples. Based on the fact that they all scattered at the Garden of Gethsemane, I kind of assume that they weren't actually there. I didn't really like the way they portrayed Mary Magdalene either. It was not great. And then, although for once they didn't make her Mary Bethany, so I'll take that. That's annoying to me that they do. A lot of biblical fiction does that. Try to make Mary Bethany and Mary Magdalene the same woman, and it's like, they're different. They're different. I get a little miffed by that. But anyway, I did appreciate, though, the way that this author portrayed the disciples. This is going to sound weird, but he portrayed them in very much a way where they are arguing with each other, literally the entire book. Like, the entire book. They're arguing with each other, they're arguing with Joanna, they're treating Joanna not nicely. For most of them, not all of them, but they're pretty much bickering the entire time. Which is very much how if you read the Gospels, that's really what was going on. Like, how many times did Jesus have to tell them, stop acting like that? A lot. It was a lot. So, I did like that aspect of it. But, yeah, just was not a big fan of that, some of it. But it was still a good story. Yeah. And then, my biggest surprise of the month, which, I mean, the first half of the month was entirely rereads, so I'm not shocked I was not surprised by those. But Mrs. Witherspoon Goes to War by Mary Davis. I picked this up at, like, a Christian not sure it's Christian or not, but, like, a book outlet store, and I just picked it up because I was like, oh, this kind of sounds interesting. I gave this 5 stars. I don't know if it was just because I had 0 expectations, but, so this is about a woman who she's, in World War II, her husband has died in World War II, and she works for the WASPs, the Women Air Force Service Pilots. So she helps ferry planes around so that the male pilots are free to go and do, actual war things. She repairs planes. She does a lot of things. She does a lot of things. And of course she meets another veteran and things happen, sparks fly. I was kind of expecting, I did kind of expect there to be a bit of a, and there was a bit of a, women can do this just as well as the men. Now, to be fair, the things they were doing, they were capable of doing. So I don't think that was necessarily as big of a deal. As I'm not a big fan of that idea, like the women can do it just as well as the men. There's some things that women can do as well as men, and then there's some things that we just can't. But these sorts of things, I would say that, women are at least capable of doing them. And this book was, like, that's how they portrayed this as well. I think it was fine. I am very much not a feminist. you probably could have. I feel like I don't give off that vibe. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. It wasn't very feminist. I mean, it was just sort of, Rosie the Riveter kind of feminism, if there was any at all. And I wouldn't even say there was really that much feminism, other than just some of the men are acting like the women shouldn't be doing what they're doing, which, I mean, yeah, they did that. But it was war. Women had to do things so that, yeah. But anyway, maybe it's just because I went in with zero expectations, and because World War II is not, in America, it's not normally, like, World War II is not normally my time period, and most things set in America is not my favorite setting, other than, like, maybe around the Revolution. But, and Civil War sometimes. World War II is definitely not my time period that I normally love. But man, this was such a good book. I really loved this. So yes, this wound up being 5 stars. Finally, my last book that I read in December was End of the Year. It was Bridge of Gold by Kimberly Woodhouse. This is in the Doors to the Past series. Oh, and the last book, Heroines of World War II. This was actually, or this is Witherspoon Goes to War, is part of the Heroines of World War II series. But these are like those sorts of series that are like the same kind of plot, but different authors, different time periods, different settings and stuff. So they're not really connected, I don't think. But yeah, so this one's about the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's a split timeline. Never read his actually dual timeline before, other than When the Day Comes is sort of dual timeline, but it's different because it's the same character living in 2 different timelines. I don't think I've ever read any dual timeline. If I have, I don't remember it, so. But back in 1933, this follows a guy who works as a diver and his fiancée, and he's helping to build the Golden Gate Bridge. And he finds something under the water that other people want. And then in the modern day, there's a underwater archaeologist who teams up with a underwater construction company guy, and they're trying to fix the Golden Gate Bridge, and they find some of the things that he found, shall we say. And yeah, this was actually really good. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I kind of expected to like it because I've read Kimberly Woodhouse before and I've enjoyed her, so for the Daughters of the Mayflower series. So I kind of, was not surprised that I enjoyed it, but I did actually like the contemporary timeline. I'm not usually a big fan of contemporary, just because I just would rather read about historical, but I did like, and again, not my time period either. 1933, Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco. That does not sound like what Morgan would like, but this was pretty good. Did enjoy this. Did call the twist. Twist at the end, I definitely called it earlier in the book, but I definitely called the twist at the end earlier in the book, but that's okay. I called the red herring first, and then I called the twist before it was revealed to be a red herring. I will say, I wish that the faith elements in this book, because there were some pretty good faith elements in this book, I wish that they had been somewhat more expanded, especially in the present timeline. It just kind of popped in a couple times, and that was that. But in the past timeline, especially there at the end, that was so good. I really enjoyed the faith elements there at the end. I don't want to give anything else away, but yeah, I did enjoy this one. So that was my reading month. I read 22 books in December, which is, like I said, way more than I expected to, but I did binge read the Kingdom series, which they're short, so that's what made up for that. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Also, I have a Goodreads now, so if you want to go follow me on Goodreads, that'd be great. I think I reviewed every book in here. Yeah, I post a Goodreads review for every book in this wrap up. So yeah, please go follow me there, and leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite read of the month was. Other than the rereads, my favorite book was definitely Mrs. Witherspoon Goes to War. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.